Welcome to The Art of Being Unstoppable, the podcast where women from every walk of life come together to break barriers, embrace their power, and live life on their own terms. I'm your host, Vicki McDougall, and each week we explore inspiring stories, actionable strategies, and empowering conversations to help you step into your confidence, amplify your voice, and create a life without limits. No matter where you are on your journey, this is your space to grow, thrive, and become unstoppable. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. And I am here with Christina today. And Christina is a soul that I came in contact with, not by accident, but by, I believe, divine intervention. I believe we were meant to meet. And we have really gotten to know each other in a very short period of time, but we've connected, and her story is one that I want to share with the world. I want people to realize what it means to be unstoppable. No matter where you are, where you've come from, and where you're going, it's up to you. And this woman has done just that along her journey. And she has put a no holds barred impact on your life. And I think that, I'm so happy that you're here. You have a lot that we can share, but I want to start with something very special. Before we press record, we were talking about the beginning. And I believe that we sometimes forget, no matter where our parents were, they were subjective to where they were literally in their lives and what journey that they were on, what country they lived in, how they were brought up. And sometimes it's generational and we don't get to shift that, but you have. And I want you to share a little bit about your story, Christina. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me, Vicky, and for allowing me to open my soul, because everything I will share is coming from here. Uh, and I will call it sharing my journey in the last, especially in the last 6 years, um, in the search of God, maybe. Um, so, as you mentioned, you would like to start my story with that zero moment, let's say, when I
Yeah.
realize that somehow I don't live my life. I live someone else's life. I was already in therapy for a couple of years after two broken marriages, and uh, other personal, let's say, challenges, work
Mhm.
wise, health wise, financial wise. So I was a little bit of a mess. And in 2020, my whole body was screaming, enough. And it was a moment of um, courage. But at that time was an unconscious one, because I
Mhm.
couldn't keep going like this. I was having this thought that, "W- what life I'm living? This is not my life. I'm not. I don't find myself in. I having a good job. I was earning a lot of money. Still after the second divorce, I moved from my small city where it was a lot of, mm, let's say, memories, and
Mhm.
I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe there. So I moved to Bucharest, because for people who watch, I'm from Romania. I moved to
Yeah.
Bucharest, 400 kilometers away from my hometown. Um, of course, in a search of better life, better job, which I find it. But after I had a long relationship with a gentleman, doesn't matter, and I realized that things didn't get well between us, and I come to that point. I can't live like this anymore. So I took somehow a decision to quit job, to sell my house, and to live. for 1 month outside Romania in the first journey for my soul. To I said, doesn't matter how much I will spend. I want to take 1 month. At that time, I said 1 month to find out
Yeah.
if I live my life or who I am, what life I live. So I done those tough decisions. At that time, people who knew me and even at my work, they was like, "You're mad. How can you quit your job? You're doing a lot of money." And uh, after the second divorce, I did travel a lot. I explore Europe. I was, having that kind of what an amazing life. Instagram, Facebook.
Mhm.
People was thinking
Yeah.
that I'm having all, but I didn't.
But
And
what I hear you saying too, Christina, and I don't mean to interrupt, but you were living the life on the outside, but there was something missing on the inside. And
yeah,
you knew that that was your moment of saying, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going on the same roller coaster ride that I've been on and going the same process, right? You were changing that.
exactly. So I felt that I can't live in the same way, even if I had a
Yeah.
lot of this life that I imagined at one point that
Mhm.
the divorce, I will show everybody who I am. I make a lot of money.
Yeah.
I can travel. I'm an amazing woman. And I did took the decision to leave for 1 month. Um, the initial point was to go to Thailand, but life had her own ways to take us where we're supposed to be. So I end up in India. And not only that, I end up in India, but everything was like a divine, divine timing to happen. And after my arrival, like two weeks, the pandemic COVID came. So I had to
Mhm.
leave 7 months. I couldn't come back. I had to pass through this cultural shock, emotional shock, because everything was different. But was the first moment in my life where I didn't have friends, uh, mm, connection, because people around me, they was around me, yes, but they didn't feel what I feel. They was from another culture. They couldn't understand my
Yeah.
anxiety. I was crawling from anxiety. It- I, and my body was talking with me. I had this Hashimoto thyroid condition for over 30 years, but I didn't know to listen because I didn't know the language. I didn't know the language. How can you listen if you don't know your body language? I didn't know.
Yeah.
So the first time when I had to be with myself and look at myself and see what I was running from, the hurt, the pain, the a very difficult start in life. I don't want to say and use the word trauma. I will avoid to use the word trauma. I will use the word instead lack of emotional food, lack of emotional support. So
Yeah.
all my life was created and built on a very weak emotional foundation. Because my parents, living in the communist time, it's very important to understand this. Communism was a very tough, emotion-wise environment to live in. So
Mhm.
my
Mhm.
parents, they spent their life till adulthood. There was like 60, 50, 60 years when revolution came. But doesn't matter when the revolution came in 1989. Doesn't mean that people suddenly transformed. There was still fear there
No.
inside them. There was still a lot of don't express yourself, don't do this,
Yeah.
don't say this. Don't you don't. a lot of no's, not allowed to do it. So I was raised in the same context, and the body was talking with me because he was actually the map of what happened with me during my young age and all with
Yeah.
all those lacks. So they provide me from material point of view what they could, but emotionally,
Hmm.
both of them, it was not healthy. And
Yeah. And
this
and
is how
and we can't. Yeah, and we can't have, like, like I said in the beginning, our families are a product of their environment as well. And like you said, just because in 1989 things changed for the country doesn't mean that after 50 years that if they don't understand and they didn't have that aha moment that you had when you got to be alone with yourself and you got to learn how to listen.
exactly.
If we
So
don't get to that point, we just don't.
this is how I dive in. I was attracted to astrology, but I didn't have this perspective that Vedic astrology, especially Jyotish, um,
Hmm.
gave me. And after that, because the astrology I started to study in India was only like I say, the trampoline to Ayurveda, especially somatic Ayurveda. Somatic Ayurveda for me is the interpretation of um, the emotions in the body. So is to recognize the emotions language, because every
Okay.
time you have a sensation in your body, you feel something is it's an emotion there. So this is how I
Hmm.
start actually to dive in astrology and Ayurveda. And the first my first
And
mentor.
how do you say that? It's Ayurveda. It's Ayurvedic. That's what the somatic is, right?
Can you repeat, please? Because I didn't understand exactly.
So how do you say that? Like I am okay. So you had called it somatic Ayurvedic
So somatic
with
Ayurveda.
okay. That's how. Okay, I wanted to just clear that because I just want our listeners to be able to understand as well what that is. So okay, sorry. Keep going.
So the let's say the first my first mentor in India, the astrologer, uh, he introduced me somehow in astrology. He talked about he first he did my chart map, and he said to me that I have some karma and some loyalty programs, but he didn't say loyalty because they don't use those are modern
Hmm.
psychological word. They use karma, dharma, and so on. And he told me that everything is happening with me, including the two divorces I've been through, the losses I've been through, my Hashimoto, everything was inherited from my father lineage and from my mother as well. At that point, I was still ignorant. I was still didn't know. I said, "Oh, what bullshit he's telling me." But slowly, I got into more into studying this science, um, and afterwards, I switched after 3 years to Ayurveda. So I have like 3 years of astrology, Vedic astrology courses, and a lot of workshops plus. Um, um, Consultation I've done with women that they came to me. Uh, but what helped me to understand better myself and my life path, let's say, from this point of view of the body was Ayurveda. So when I start to dive into Ayurveda, um, and learn about the energetic and biological body, Prakriti, and how the energy in our body are moving and um, which organ is connected with a specific energy. So the base of the free energetic forces, doshas, vata, kapha, pitta, each of them being a combination of the five elements from the universe. So we are a piece of God's piece of God, piece of this universe. So we are micro universes ourselves. And I could make the connection between um, the symptoms of the Hashimoto and the emotion that is behind, because emotion is energy in motion, and how
Yes.
the energy, those energy forces, when they are blocked in your body, they create disease. So from here, I could uh, develop and apply first in my life various specific and geared techniques to manage my symptoms. And I have long periods after 35 years. I have long periods without pills, because for people who knows about this
Yeah.
condition, an autoimmune
Yeah.
condition make you uh, dependent on pills. And as I
Yes.
use this dependent word, I would say first the primary emotion behind an Hashimoto autoimmune condition is anger, the anger towards our parents for the injustice we lived in the how in um I will not use the word toxic, in a not safe environment, in an environment where emotionally we haven't been feel safe. And not only that, we haven't
Hmm.
been safe, but with a very high sensitivity. So people that have autoimmune condition, they are very sensitive. The souls,
Yeah.
they are so creative. They are artists, but living in with parents that they don't know how to cherish their, and they don't know, and sometimes they don't have uh, let's say, the possibility to, to
Right.
support an artist. What parents are very
Yes.
rational. Go and do this school because you need to make
Yeah.
money. As an
Yeah.
artist,
Absolutely.
if you are an artist, you will
Hmm.
die. You can't live
Well,
from.
and you are so right when you say that. When I decided I wanted to be a hairstylist when I was like 17, I was graduating high school at 17 and I wanted to be a hairstylist, and my father wanted me to be a nurse. There's more money in nursing. You need to be a nurse. You need to be a nurse. I got accepted into nursing. I went to like, the just to see what it was like, and that, and I sat there and I'm like, what am I doing here? This is not mine. This is not what I am meant to do. I am meant to help people feel beautiful about themselves. So even when I was 17, nearly 40 years ago, 40 years ago, I knew that that wasn't my path. Being a stylist and be able to have someone there and you can create and be creative was what my passion was. And, when we make that choice, like you said, your life was what it was because that was part of your journey. But you have discovered so much about yourself since you chose to. You chose that. You chose that month away. You chose it. Regardless of the noise from everyone else outside, you listened to your body and you chose it. And on this journey, you've discovered things that you would never have discovered before about Hashimoto's and how your past and your family's past has created the emotions in your body. And, I don't know that people, you know, everyone understands what we're talking about when it comes to energy, but everything is energy. Everything is
Of
energy.
course,
And if we, right? And like you said, emotions are energy in motion.
yes,
So when you are sad and it's a it's your energy, that's the sadness is coming. It's
it's
flowing. And it's
the
okay to
normal
feel
one.
those emotions.
normal to feel
That's
and allow it.
right.
Sadness,
Yes.
anger,
Yes.
they are part
Yes.
of us. Everything we bottle up, no?
Hmm.
uh, it's we don't do any favor to our body because the body keeps
No.
the score. This is how Dr. Gabor Mate, I don't know, it's famous in Canada, in Romania as well. And I've done a compassionate inquiry 10 weeks program with him method. The body doesn't forget. If the body had the
No.
capacity to remember something that happened in your childhood, and not only to remember, we are half mother, half father, both life forces. Simple, without spirituality, without
Yeah. Yeah.
complicating things.
Yeah.
So we came in this life because two adults decided
Yep.
to make love, whatever they call it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
if
Absolutely.
those two people, individuals, are not healthy themselves, emotionally speaking, and I would say, my father was an alcoholic,
Hmm.
and it is a lot of connection between Hashimoto and an alcoholic parent in the family. It's like a spiritual, how to say, um, someone from the family at one
Lineage.
point
Yeah.
will have this condition, because it's like a mission they have in this family constellation is like
Hmm.
a mission they have to talk about things that was hidden in the family. So during
Hmm.
my childhood, mm, and in the communism especially, to be an alcoholic wasn't allowed. It was a very shameful condition. So a lot of things that happened in my family was bottled up because they couldn't, especially my
Hmm.
father was a communist convinced person because communists give him an identity he didn't have himself and a voice. And I'm
Right.
not judging him.
Right.
God,
No.
God bless him and rest his soul. This is what he could do. He was a very, very hurted soul after war.
Yeah.
So he came with a lot of bullshit, let's
Yeah.
say, from
Yeah.
my point of
Yeah.
view.
Absolutely.
And my
Absolutely.
mother, as a codependent, she act and she behaved in the same way. She didn't have enough
Hmm.
for me as a kid. So I took my body as a very sensitive person. I took all this charge, let's say, an invisible energetic charge between them. They didn't fight, or they fight, or even if they didn't fight much, I could feel the tension between them.
Yeah.
I could feel the anger between them, the everything. So my body kept remembering this, but I didn't know how to listen, even if my symptoms
No.
started very early. Again,
No.
after
You didn't know
communism,
that that was what it's about. Absolutely. How would you know that? If you don't know, you don't know.
plus um, a very important component in this picture is the emotional um, language. To know how to identify what you feel, to know to name what you
Hmm.
feel, and to accept. As I said, inside us, we are not only, uh, well, let's say, I don't believe in being Zen all the time, but I don't believe either in projecting your um, shadow. We all have a shadow to other to people around you. So
Hmm.
it's about keeping your emotional sovereignty in check because you are the only one who can um, um, let's say work on yourself. You can't change
Yep.
what is from outside. You can't.
No. No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So you have you have really shared some education, but you have supportive resources as well, and you have written a book.
I did. uh,
And your
well,
book is on Amazon, which I think is beautiful. Like I really do. And it's an introduction, healing Indian science. And you know what? I looked at your book. I downloaded, I have your book, and I really truly believe that everybody needs to just understand a different perspective sometimes. We just need to let it in. You do not have to agree or disagree with anything that we're saying here. But when a woman can come from where you came from and you have taken that and you didn't stay in it, you took it and you learned from it, and then you chose you. You chose you. And it doesn't matter if you were married and divorced 5 times. You chose you. Your path and what you have done, you have opened a door to allowing other women to see what is possible. And that is what
It's exactly
unstoppable looks
what
like.
I would like to say regarding who I am or why I'm talking about it. I'm not a healer.
Mhm.
I don't heal anyone. I'm not a
Yep.
healer. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I can say it about myself. I'm a, but not trauma, emotional informed counselor.
Mhm.
Uh, and what I do share is a combination between um, this wisdom of the Vedas, the ancient books of India. It's like an amazing ocean of wisdom.
Mhm.
But what is backed up with personal experience and living. I'm not sharing anything I don't tried and applied on myself. Like for example, because I made from this Ayurveda like a way of living. Actually, this is a
Yes.
science about how to live life. But I'm not
Mhm.
preaching what I don't apply, as I said. So I have a routine like 2 massages per week for 3 years because I somatize a lot. I have a lot of pain in my body. And I can feel now how my body releases a lot of those emotions that I said anger from here, shame
Yeah.
from my feet. Now, shame is living on the feet, on the front uh, of the feet. Disgust towards anything that happened when I was a child and I couldn't express myself because I was dependent on my
Mhm.
caregivers. I couldn't say to my father or to my mother, I don't agree with you. Uh, why? Based on the education I receive and based on the context. Uh,
Yes.
we've been very oppressed. And this is like a collective pain even now. People are afraid to talk. People are afraid to
Yeah.
stand up on their feet and to be assertive and to express what they believe. And it's sometimes
Yeah.
it's so difficult for me. Um, and I will give a practical example. The initial book, yeah, I had a few copies printed. Uh, today in 2026, it's I added a lot of protocols, a lot of resources. But I feel that any door I try to open, I'm a simple person. I don't have connections. I don't work in media. I haven't worked in media, television, because
Yep.
here, if you
Yep.
are a person with those contacts, you are very welcome and very good client for any editor to publish your
Yeah.
book. I'm not, and I'm not rich either. My richness is inside.
That's right.
So I can't publish my next book with that I believe will be a tremendous help for, especially for women, because can see in Romania. So it's like the past, the past, the communism, it's still here. Like in the
Mhm.
feeling of ladies, they feel tired, emotionally tired, and they had a lot of symptoms of and problems with thyroid, and they don't know why. This is emotional tiredness, and it's
Mhm.
coming from our mother, from what we lived and what they lived is in our
Yeah.
DNA. No, it's like something that you can't get away with it. You know.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I do know that. And you know what? I want to say, Christina, that up until now, you haven't published your book. Up until now, you haven't been able to do those things. But your story doesn't end here. This is just the beginning of your story. Your journey is a rich journey full of love and life and energy, and you will see changes in your lifetime because you are an unstoppable force. And I want people to hear that, and I want people to know that and feel it the way I feel it when we speak, because you have taken something and you have learned about your own body. And like you said, I'm not a healer, but if I know what worked for me and I can share it and it can help one woman, then that's my job. And that's what you're doing. Regardless of your past, regardless of what you have been through, you're standing in your power. All those things that you say we suppress, we do. We push it down. But underneath that is a power. And once we start to remove those layers, that power comes out. And you, my dear, are powerful.
Well, somehow I realized that this journey I've done in the last years mm, actually was meant to for me to have this. I was meant to come here to arrive in this point and put all this experience and what I learned about myself um, and share the knowledge. And if someone will say, "Oh, this is a different perspective I haven't thought about," and will do something inside or and that will change life or whatever, maybe not change life. I'm not looking after changing life. I'm looking after being in peace with myself for me and forgiving myself a lot and accepting that I'm human and some
Mhm.
of us had let's say a different path. I will end up with this. I still read a lot of sages, Indian sages books, and now I'm into Swati Vivekananda. He was same like a translator of the Vedas and sharing it in the world. But himself as a person, he passed through a lot of losses and difficult situation. And I suspect he had a Hashimoto condition as well. I look at his eyes and I can sense. So he was in pain because this is coming with a lot of pain. And I I read recently that the definition of a spiritual awakening actually is one word, one sentence that uh, can be summarized is courage. Courage to face difficulties in your life. Courage to step aside from your family loyalty, as I said at the beginning. My mom,
Mhm.
she will never leave uh, outside country on her own. It
Mm.
was a madness for me at that point. Okay, I, I was let's say I had some protection. I had money mm, put aside.
Mhm.
I'd done a lot
Yeah.
of some research, but still, it was a mad decision, especially for someone in Eastern Europe, because
Yeah.
we have this fear not to travel so much alone sometimes. So I said, I've done a step aside the my mom life I was living because she was divorced once. She passed through the shame of a divorce and to everything that comes with being a single mom afterwards and getting married second time with my father.
Mhm.
A lot of unspoken things and
Yeah.
hidden situation that I find out after I start my healing journey because my mom couldn't told me about that. She's still
Yeah.
in denying. She's still in denying now. She can't accept a lot of things and
Mhm.
even she can't accept I'm talking about because the fear that communists putting in their self, it's still there. She doesn't
Uh-huh.
understand, and
Yeah.
now I am allowed to speak. So
Yeah.
I prefer not to tell her about the book. Uh, 'Cause it's better
Yes.
not to. But I did this step aside from my mother invisible loyalty, because this is a loyalty towards our mother. We tend from our subconscious mind to choose
Hmm.
and to live
Yeah.
the same life. So I've done it
And you chose
with
differently
courage. This
with
was my courage.
courage. Yes.
I
Yes, you
just
did.
jumped
Well, thank yes. And you did it. You stood in your courage, and that's powerful. That is powerful.
from the
It
most
really
deepest vulnerability and sensibility is the bigger is the courage. I can say now.
is.
The biggest is your vulnerability, the biggest is your courage. Now I know I'm a highly sensitive woman. I know I need a lot of time of my with myself. I'm into art,
Mhm.
I paint, write, I create. So I
Yeah.
tune myself with my feminine side a lot.
Yeah.
It's my soul that needs it. And is the only way you can heal body and change your mind.
It's yes. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you know what, my dear? I see you getting this published. I see it all starting to happen for you. And I do believe, and I believe in you, and I believe in your powers of your belief that is going to help many other women in the same position or similar positions as you are. Because that's what we do as women. We're going to build each other up, and we're going to help women realize that they can be unstoppable. And I thank you so much for your time today. I know you worked all day because of our time difference. You worked all day and then you came home and you got ready for this podcast. And I appreciate you so very much. You keep doing what you're doing and you keep creating what you're creating because I see the potential of bigger things for you coming your way because of all that you give back. So thank you for that. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you too. And what can I say more? I wish every woman to find um, their own path and to understand that everything is in their power and they can be unstoppable.
Yes, I can. And everything that you need to know about Christina is in our show notes. And if you're interested in buying her book, it's available on Amazon, and that is also in there. And her second book
Amazon
will be,
introduction to magic healing of Ayurveda with an
yes,
astrological perspective as well. This is a
perfect.
first edition, but yes, it's
Yes, and the second edition will be coming out. Thank you very much, Christina.
thank you, Vicky. Thank you, and peace and love to you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. Remember, your story matters, your voice matters, and your power is limitless. If you love today's conversation, subscribe, share it with the women in your life, and leave a review to help more women discover their unstoppable selves. I'm Vicki McDougall, and I'll see you in the next episode because your journey to unstoppable starts now.